Have you ever stopped to wonder what the last digit of your birth year is? No, I'm not talking about the entire year, nor the decade, nor the century, just that final number, the very last character of your birth year, almost forgotten in the corner of the calendar, a detail so trivial you might have never given it a second thought. But what if I told you there's a mystery there? Something as subtle as the silence between two musical notes, yet capable of echoing throughout your entire life. Imagine if this simple digit, which seems to hold no importance, held a unique energy within it, almost like the final chord of a song announcing a new cycle. Why do certain numbers seem to follow us? Have you ever felt like one appears with excessive frequency, as if trying to tell you something? It's no coincidence. The human brain is a machine obsessed with patterns. It wants to understand, decipher, find meaning even in what seems insignificant. And life, or perhaps something greater, speaks to us in codes, symbols, unexpected combinations. So before we go on, I want you to do two things. First, subscribe to the channel now, because soon you won't want to miss a single detail. Second, in the comments, write down the last digit of your birth year, just the number. Leave it there. I want to see how many people share the same symbol as you. And go ahead and hit that like button, because together we're going to unravel a secret hidden in plain sight. Did you notice? Something you've always carried in your documents, never questioned, might hold much more weight than you imagine. Are you ready to look at your own number with new eyes? Then, hold on to your curiosity and come with me. I promise that by the end of this video, you'll never see time or yourself the same way again. Let's talk about the little things. About what, at first glance, seems to be worth nothing. How many times have you encountered trivial details in your daily life and simply ignored them? The color of your building's door, your bus seat number, the sequence of digits on your ID. The modern world trains us to overlook these fragments, to value only the grand, the spectacular, what grabs attention. But there's a fundamental truth. What is small to distracted eyes can be gigantic when viewed closely. Think of a footprint in the sand. Apparently, it's just any old mark. But for an attentive investigator, it tells an entire story. It reveals weight, direction, haste, intention. And why does that matter here? Because the human brain has a fascinating mechanism called the Baader-Meinhof effect. It's when suddenly something catches your attention and you start seeing that pattern everywhere. A house number, a car license plate, the time on a clock, everything seems to conspire for that symbol to reappear in unexpected ways, almost like a coded message from the universe just for you. Now the invitation, try to look at your personal data, not as bureaucracy, but as portals of meaning. The last digit of your birth year, for example. Starting today, will you begin to notice it more, to feel it vibrate on certain occasions in your life? Let the doubt grow. Think with me. How many birthdays have you celebrated without thinking about the number, the subtle vibration, what that time said about you? How many times have you mechanically repeated your birth date on forms without ever questioning it? What if each of those moments held a clue about who you're destined to become? There are cultures where nothing, absolutely nothing, is insignificant. Tibetan monks spend hours drawing mandalas, paying attention to the tiniest details, because they know that the divine hides in the minuscule, in the almost invisible. What if your last digit is precisely that symbol, a silent invitation, waiting for you to decipher it? Challenge yourself now. Try to remember the first important number from your childhood. Was it a jersey number, an apartment number, a password? How did it feel? Have you ever felt coincidences accumulating around a certain number? Let the thought linger. Here, even the trivial can be revolutionary. Let's go deeper. What if I told you that everything that happens, however silly it may seem, is a message waiting to be read? That, according to depth psychology, there are no accidents, only symbols that our unconscious needs to decipher. The one who proposed this view was Carl Jung, one of the greatest thinkers of the 20th century. Jung wasn't just a doctor or a dreamer. He was the cartographer of the human soul, the explorer of the labyrinths of the unconscious. His work on archetypes, symbols, and synchronicity forever changed how we understand the hidden meaning behind the little things. For Jung, dreams, myths, stories, and numbers are ways life finds to communicate with us. He used to say, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." And his invitation was direct: seek meaning even in what seems to have none at all. Not everything is literal. Sometimes the message is encrypted in images, patterns, repetitions, and numbers are one of these universal codes. In Jung's world, nothing is just a number. Everything is a symbol. The clock striking 11:11, the phone number ending with that same digit, the birth date repeated in important events. Life speaks, whispers, sometimes screams, but always through a secret language, that of symbology. Have you ever noticed how some cultures give special powers to certain numbers? 7, 3, 8. Why do you think that is? Because more than quantity, numbers are qualities. Each carries its own energy, an archetype, a kind of hidden force that vibrates silently in the human experience. Now bring this concept to your own story. The last digit of your birth year isn't there by chance. Maybe you've never considered it, but perhaps it's a totem, an invisible amulet, a symbolic mark telling something about your journey, about your emotion, your way of feeling, your shadows, and your potentialities. This isn't cheap numerology, nor sealed fate. It's about opening your eyes to the language of life, the one Jung spent a lifetime trying to decipher. And today I invite you to be your own detective, to listen to what your number is trying to communicate. If you're enjoying this deep dive, share this video with someone who loves symbolism, signs, mythology. Let's build a community of mystery explorers together. And write down, why do you think you chose to be born in exactly that year with that final digit? Coincidence or a calling? Now close your eyes for a moment and imagine time. Does it pass you by? Or do you navigate through it, like a boat cutting through the waters of an ancient river, full of crossroads and memories? We tend to think of time as linear, cold, mathematical. But is it really like that? Carl Jung argued that time is a field of meaning, not just a clock hand advancing into the void. The moment of your birth isn't a mathematical accident. It's an inscription, engraved on the invisible tapestry of the collective. The decade you were born in, the dreams of the people around you, the songs playing on the radio, the smells, the fears and hopes lingering in the air. All of this is imprinted on our unconscious. Think of the great decades, the 60s and the revolution, the 80s and the search for freedom, the 2000s and the technological frenzy. Those born under a certain historical vibration do carry marks of that collectivity, not just in culture, in tastes, but in their very psyche. It's as if each birth were a knot in a vast net and your last digit a symbolic seal holding secrets about what era you're made of. Remember this, no child is born in a bubble. You were welcomed into a world already in motion, with symbols in effervescence, ideals being built and destroyed. The air you breathed for the first time was already impregnated with meanings, historical traces, latent dreams, some realized, others frustrated. And here's an important key. The energy of the collective also shapes the personal. That's why your birth, and especially your last digit, isn't just individual. It's part of a grand dance, an orchestra of emotional, cultural, and archetypal vibrations. Try to remember, who are the biggest influences of your generation? What dreams were considered possible? What fears hung in the air? Now, look at the year you were born and observe what's unique about that era. And what's the last chord, the last digit, the last note that marked your entry onto this stage called life? These historical marks don't define you, but they influence you in subtle, profound, almost imperceptible ways. And that's where your journey of self-discovery begins. Understanding that you are at the same time a product of time, of the collective, and also a singular universe, full of layers and possibilities. If you haven't commented your number below yet, now's the time. Say what era you came from. Share a memorable recollection from your generation. And get ready, because in the next topics we're going even deeper. The last digit of your birth year is about to reveal itself as a mirror of your soul. Imagine for a moment that every human being carries an invisible signature. It's not a first name, not a last name, not even DNA. It's a subtle mark, a symbolic residue that hovers over our existence from the first breath, the last digit of our birth year. It functions like that final chord of a song, discreet yet decisive, capable of completely changing the atmosphere of everything that came before. Pause and look at your number, not with the hurried gaze of someone reading a bill, but with the curiosity of an archaeologist before an ancient artifact. What if this number, this simple digit, were a kind of archetypal fingerprint? And what if, instead of determining a fixed destiny, it functioned as an invitation, a whisper from the collective unconscious suggesting, exist, feel, explore this energetic path? The last digit can be seen as the symbolic seal of a cycle. 0, closed and totalizing, is round like a new beginning. 1, sharp and audacious, announces a new start. 2, 3, 4, up to 9, each carries in its mathematical and symbolic form a potency, a kind of psychic aroma that influences our desires, fears, joys, and even our types of relationships. But pay attention, we're not in the territory of easy horoscopes or magical predictions. Here we treat the symbol as a mirror. It reflects, suggests, provokes. The archetype doesn't determine, but points to inner paths, like in a labyrinth where each choice reveals more about who you are than about the things around you. Now imagine all your birthdays, all your life cycles, all your personal rituals, always accompanied by this number. How many times has it appeared discreetly? Perhaps in the number of the house you moved to, in important school results, in the significant dates of achievements and defeats. What if, in those brief moments when we turn to the symbolic, we could listen to what lies behind the number? What if the last digit were a kind of password to access a deep, underexplored aspect of our own essence? It's not about divination. It's about curiosity. It's about allowing yourself to look at what's habitual with a new lens, the lens of self-knowledge. Now, you're about to embark on a journey that's not just rational but visceral, a journey that passes through each digit, from 0 to 9, and explores not what you're destined to be, but what you can discover by opening yourself to new meanings. Each number is a symbol full of hidden layers, like an onion that reveals its perfume and intensity leaf by leaf. Imagine 0 isn't just nothing, it's the space where everything can emerge. 1, initiative, the spark. 2, duality, the encounter. 3, creativity, the divine triad. 4, stability, structure. 5, movement and chaos. 6, harmony and care. 7, mystery and search. 8, power and realization. 9, ending and transcendence. But this isn't a closed and definitive list. Each person is a universe. Your number might sound different for you than for someone else. And that's precisely where the secret lies. Observing how the archetype resonates in your experiences, in your impulses, in your life story. This journey through the digits isn't a manual. It's not a treasure map where X marks the right destination. It's an invitation to internal exploration. It's about you realizing, where has this number appeared significantly in your history? Is there a pattern you've never seen before? A recurring emotion? A lesson already repeated multiple times? Reflect on this. If each number is a landscape, what's your horizon? If each digit is a path, where does it lead you, inward or outward? Do you feel fear, curiosity, or excitement when facing this symbol? By the way, pause for a few seconds and observe. What do you feel when you think about the last digit of your birth year now? Feel the vibration, the memory, the energy. Think about the synchronicities that have already occurred around you. Has your journey been crossed now and then by this same mysterious figure? It's time to remember, there's no right answer. There's only the journey into the unknown. In this video, we'll walk together through each digit from 0 to 9, revealing what each can symbolize, not as a sentence, but as a mirror. And in the end, I'll show you that the true key is never the isolated symbol, but the consciousness it awakens in you. Get ready to see yourself in a new way, free of labels and full of possibilities. Now close your eyes and take a deep breath. Let yourself be guided by this journey through the archetypes. Don't rush, just feel. Reflect. What's your number? Which archetype calls to you? 0, at first glance, might seem insignificant, but under the lens of depth psychology, it's the perfect circle, the fertile void, the womb of the universe where everything begins and everything ends. Those who carry 0 as their last digit might feel, deep in their soul, a constant search for new beginnings, for reinventing themselves, or a sense of always being on the verge of something new, mysterious, ready to be born. 0 also represents infinite potential, the ability to be anything, to transcend form, to go beyond common definitions. Think about your life. How many times have you felt like you were closing cycles, or that something big was about to open up before you? It might be a deep call to embrace the unknown, to trust in endings and new beginnings. The challenge, not to get lost in the feeling of emptiness, of never belonging to a fixed place. The gift, the wisdom of cycles, and the courage to be reborn. One is the arrow pointing forward. Its individuality, the initial fire, the force that inaugurates journeys and projects. If your last digit is 1, you might feel an inclination to lead, to be a pioneer, to open doors where there were only walls before. 1 is bold, but it can also be lonely, carrying the weight of decisions that only those who go first need to make. Have you ever felt like being the first, starting new, things even without knowing if they'll work out? Have you noticed challenges with the fear of being alone or the need to prove your worth? Here's the paradox of 1. It's born to begin, but needs to learn to cooperate to avoid isolation. The gift, courage and initiative. The challenge, learning to ask for help. 2 is the number of relationships, partnership of opposites that attract and complete each other. Those born under the digit 2 usually experience life in pairs, the need to share, to be heard, to receive and give affection. It's the energy of diplomacy, empathy, of harmony sought in encounters, but also of the fear of rejection, of excessive dependence. Do you usually seek complicity, feel complete when you're with someone? Or do you realize that some of your main pains come precisely from interpersonal relationships? 2 invites balance, mutual respect, kindness. The gift, sensitivity, and the ability to build bridges. The challenge, maintaining your individuality even when merging with another. 3 is the eternal child, the artist, the communicator. Expansive, vibrant, joyful energy. 3 seeks expression, sparkle, stage, color. Those with 3 as their last digit often feel the need to create, to tell stories, to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. They might be that person who lights up rooms, who is contagious with humor or optimism, but who sometimes needs to learn to deal with superficiality or dispersion. Do you feel like communicating, inventing, coloring the life around you? Have you ever felt great joy in expressing what you feel? Or on the contrary, do you feel an emptiness when you don't have space to create and share? The gift, creativity, joy, and inspiration. The challenge, learning to focus and go deeper. 4 is the archetype of construction, foundation, order. It's the one who seeks security, stability, roots. If 4 is your number, you might be that person who needs routine, who values commitment, who takes their word seriously. 4 builds but can feel trapped by rigidity, by the fear of taking risks. Do you feel the need to control, to plan every step? Or have you noticed blockages due to fear of the new, the unknown? 4 teaches the value of work, patience, discipline. The gift, reliability, sense of duty. The challenge, opening up to the unpredictable. 5 is the explosion, adventure, the desire to break limits. Those who carry 5 feel the need to experience, to change, to seek stimuli. It's a restless energy, focused on everything new, different, surprising. But at the same time, it can be accompanied by anxiety, instability, difficulty in putting down roots. Do you feel restless with routine, with everything predictable? Do you need constant novelty to feel alive? Or have you found yourself fleeing at any sign of commitment? 5 invites movement, adaptability, but warns against excess that leads to dispersion. The gift, versatility and courage to change. The challenge, learning to persevere. 6 is the energy of home, family, care. It's the one who seeks harmony, peace, well-being around them. Those who have 6 usually feel deep empathy, a need to serve, protect, embrace. They might be that person everyone turns to for comfort or advice, but who needs to be careful not to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders? Do you feel joy in helping, in seeing your loved ones well? Or sometimes do you feel exhausted from wanting to solve everything for everyone? 6 invites compassion, generosity, but asks for balance between offering and taking care of yourself. The gift, lovingness, and a sense of community. The challenge, learning to set healthy boundaries. 7 is the number of questioning, study, spirituality. It's the energy of thinkers, mages, philosophers. If this is your number, you probably feel a fascination with mysteries, a desire to understand what lies beyond the surface, a search for answers in science or spirituality. But you might at times isolate yourself too much, feel misunderstood or distant from the concrete. Do you thirst for wisdom? Do you seek meaning in everything, like to study, investigate, meditate? Have you felt loneliness because you couldn't find someone to share your discoveries with? 7 teaches the value of silence, introspection, inner diving. The gift, intuition, depth, discernment. The challenge, stepping out of the ivory tower and connecting with the world. 8 is strength, ambition, accomplishment. It's the number of power, impact, leadership capable of transforming realities. Those of 8 carry a great desire to win, to leave a mark, to achieve material security and respect. But with that comes the risk of rigidity, authoritarianism, pride. Do you crave recognition to prosper, to manifest ideas into reality? Or have you found yourself obsessed with control or status? 8 challenges you to balance power and compassion, achievements and humility. The gift, leadership, ability to transform. The challenge, not to confuse authority with harshness. 9 is the last step before a new beginning. It's the number of altruism, universal compassion, of the cycle that ends to make way for the new. Those who carry 9 feel a deep desire to serve the collective, to detach from their own ego for something greater. But they may face the pains of loss, difficulty in finishing processes, fear of being alone. Do you feel called to care for the world, to leave a legacy, to resolve past issues? Or have you suffered from not being able to let go of people, situations, or emotions? 9 invites surrender, detachment, forgiveness. The gift, altruism, wisdom, detachment. The challenge, not to carry the weight of the world and to learn to say goodbye. Now that you've contemplated each number as a mirror of the soul, I invite you, go back to your last digit, observe, feel. What resonated with you? Which archetype vibrated most strongly? Write in the comments. Your experience might be the key for someone watching now who feels exactly like you. And if these reflections touch something deep, like, share and invite more people to this journey. Because the more we look inward, the more we realize each number doesn't say who we are, but opens portals to what we can become. No energy, no archetype, no number exists in isolation, clean, pure, without imperfections. If even the brightest light casts a shadow, what would be our task before the symbols that inhabit us? The truth is that every number, just like every personality trait, carries within it 2 sides, virtue and challenge, manifest potential and discomfort zone, a light that blinds and a darkness that awaits the embrace of consciousness. Carl Jung called this hidden face the shadow. Shadow isn't a defect, it's not a curse. Shadow is everything that, for fear of seeing, we fail to recognize in ourselves. And precisely because of this, it becomes powerful. Unconscious, it governs our reactions, choices, and automatic repetitions. When we look the shadow in the face, it loses the power to sabotage and becomes a source of growth, strength, and creativity. Think about yourself. For example, when looking at the symbolism of your last digit, you might have felt joy, pride, immediate identification with the archetype. But what about the other side? The side that causes discomfort or even rejection? This is your invitation to deeper self-investigation. Where is the shadow of your number? Or even, where does it appear camouflaged as a quality, but in reality hides an unconscious desire to control, flee, please, or dominate? Take examples from your own history. The 4 who builds can become inflexible in the face of change. The 5 who flies free can flee commitment and build shallow roots. The 2, generous, can get lost trying to always please, forgetting themselves. Each number holds a dual lesson, and only those who face both sides can grow, integrating virtues and working on challenges. This is where self-knowledge transforms into a concrete path, not empty philosophy. Because it's not about fitting into a mold or being proud of your strong number, much less about running from what bothers you. The real process is integration, recognizing patterns, embracing vulnerabilities, transforming unconscious repetition into conscious choice. Don't be afraid of your shadow. It's just another name for the field of possibilities of your being. Recognizing it is the first step to expanding your internal and external horizons. You're not alone on this journey. We all carry light and shadow, and only those who accept both sides can truly shine with truth. Pause for reflection. What aspect of your number challenges you most? And what empowers you? Write in the comments your greatest point of light and your greatest shadow related to the digit of your birth year. And remember, only those who dare to truly look at themselves find the path to inner freedom. Now you might be asking yourself, what if I don't identify with the archetype of my number? What if it seems like none of this has anything to do with me? Am I condemned to repeat patterns? Am I just another statistic, a piece on a predetermined board? The answer is absolutely not. This script isn't about putting you in a frame. It's not about limiting your essence with labels or ready-made formulas. Symbols are maps, never the territory. The last digit of your birth year is not your destiny. It's not a sentence. It's not a prison. It's a signpost, an invitation, an opportunity. The role of symbols, according to Jung, is to expand consciousness. They exist to provoke reflections, raise questions, open inner doors. Just as a dream doesn't predict the future but reveals what beats in your soul, the archetype of your final digit serves as a mirror, not a wall. You can look, you can feel, you can question, you can transform, you can even disagree. The important thing is not to confuse tool with label. To be human is to be fluid, mutable, multifaceted. You are crossed by many archetypes, by many phases of life. The last digit is just one of the infinite symbols that can help illuminate your path. But remember, nothing replaces your autonomy, your freedom of movement. Symbols help name stories, but the one who writes the pages is you, no one else. Perhaps, throughout this video, you've noticed that the number resonates in some areas, but not in others. Great. This is the invitation to deeper investigation. What needs to be integrated? Where is there resistance? What are the other forces that cross your biography? It's not about fitting everything into an immutable logic, but about opening space to perceive nuances, mixtures, paradoxes. Self-knowledge begins in curiosity and flourishes in freedom. You are not a number nor a statistic. You are singular, unrepeatable, and open work. Symbols used with consciousness are allies. Used as dogma, they become a prison. Always choose expansion. Leave in the comments, how do you feel about this relationship with your number? Does it limit you or free you? And if you could invent a new symbol for yourself, what would it be? And if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel, share this video with those seeking more purpose, and activate the notification bell to continue this journey with us. Because self-discovery happens in a group, yes, you are part of this tribe. We've reached the end, but in reality, all of this is just the beginning. What has your number been trying to tell you for years? Could that seemingly trivial impression actually have been a whisper from the universe, asking you to pay attention? How about stopping, looking inward, and listening again? The proposal here was to give you tools, not absolute truths. You've already understood. The symbol is just a trigger, an invitation, a key to inner doors that only you can open. The real secret lies in how you'll use all of this from now on, in the silence of observation, in writing your own memories, in meditating on repeating coincidences, in attentively looking at family patterns and decisive moments. Try it. Meditate on the last digit of your birth year. Write down in a notebook which significant events involved that number. Keep a small diary. When this number appears, how do I feel? What was the historical context of my birth? What great challenges and achievements have I experienced in the major transitions of my life? Notice if there are cycles, repetitions, lessons learned. How about expanding this investigation? Talk to close people, share experiences. Many of us never realize that small coincidences are in fact points of deep connection. And above all, don't treat anything as definitive, only as a hypothesis, an invitation, an experimentation. This video was a call for you to observe yourself, perceive yourself, question yourself. Because in the end, it's not symbols that change our lives. It's us, when we look inward, understand our lights, and face our shadows, that we truly become the authors of our own destiny. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to access more stories like this. Now, I want to hear from you. Comment what your last digit is, how you felt discovering its archetype, and what you'll do from now on with this self-knowledge. Share, like, send to someone who needs a spark of reflection in their routine. And if you want to go even deeper, access the link in the description. There's a lot of extra content waiting for you in our community of seekers. Remember, you are not alone. We are a legion of curious, restless dreamers who believe that the universe speaks to those who dare to listen. Your number, your symbol, your story are just the beginning. Until the next episode, and never forget, the greatest mystery in the world is being you, with all your numbers, silences, and infinite possibilities.